Okay, so welcome to this wonderful ceremony to celebrate Lunasa and the Lionsgate portal. Okay, so there are two events and they align really close together, so I figured I may as well do them together because they're both wonderful events equally in their own right, but I think combined, their energy is certainly being felt at the moment. So what I'll do, what the layout of today, this evening's ceremony is going to be, is to firstly, as I always do, is give you as much information as possible about astrologically and energetically what's going on. Little tips on energetically clearing through ritual or certain practices that we can do in our ceremony. And then we'll finish with a guided meditation, which started to come through already today, bits of it, and it's a good mixture of the two. It's definitely more Lionsgate-y, which I'll get into. I think that's mainly because that's the realm we kind of go to when we go to meditation. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do this evening. And firstly, what I wanted to say was this week alone has been quite a heightened punch of energy. So we had the full moon on Monday, which was in Aquarius, and that was a wonderful kind of enlightening experience. It brought all of what we kind of intended at the beginning of the year, and some of you have been cycling with me since, say, even Samhain of last autumn, but equally of the conjunction that happened at the beginning of January. Shortly after that, then we had the Aquarian new moon, and we planted intentions and seeds kind of based on the potential of how this year could play out. And so it was quite fascinating on Monday to kind of see, wow, look how this year has played out. And the themes that have cropped up, not just globally, like collectively, we can really see massive amount of change and shift, which is very Aquarian itself. But equally within ourselves, the amount of awakening that has happened by consequence of what's going on around us, and how we're now perceiving the energy around us and the energy that we engage with collectively as well. So I thought the full moon that we just had was quite a nice one. Yes, it was quick and it was high energy, and it's now followed by these two events towards the end of the week. But sometimes it's almost easier to kind of be thrown in the deep end with a bunch of energy and then allowed to process it kind of in the weeks following. So it's kind of good to just throw ourselves into this experience, into this type of ceremony work where we get to work through energetic, first and foremost, all the energy that's coming through, but to put it more practically, through our emotions, through the thought patterns that we're experiencing, and then through our physical engagement with that. And so by doing ceremony, we are using action and ourselves to sit into a space where we allow these energetic, emotional, and thought processes to be just filtered out with the energy that we're moving with, okay? So first and foremost, let's get started with, I'm gonna just pull up this PowerPoint thing. But let's get talking about Lunasa, which is part of the, sorry, focus, share screen. Okay, here we go. So Lunasa is one of the cross-quarter fire festivals for the Wheel of the Year. So most of you have been cycling with me through the 8 different festivals that we have over the course of a year. And what the Wheel of the Year does is it tracks the movement of the sun through the various different signs, zodiac signs, okay? And really kind of, if you haven't already checked it out, there is a whole free presentation on the whole Wheel of the Year where you get to see each of the different holidays. But Lunasa, we're coming towards the end of the year. Samhain would be considered the end and beginning of the year. And that comes up in end of October, beginning of November. So there's Lunasa, and then the autumn equinox, and then Samhain. So we're coming towards the end. So it's really a big time of processing what's going on. If you think about it in terms of the way we look at growth, in the depth of the winter, it's dark, and you're planting a seed in the dark soil. You can't see any type of growth. If anything, there's no growth yet. You're just nurturing an intention with that seed. And then as the year bloomed on, we saw roots grow, and from Imbolic, then maybe a stem came out in spring. Bealtaine, we started to see the stirrings of spring. Summer solstice flowers were in full bloom. And now we've just passed summer solstice. We're now bearing the beautiful fruits from those trees, from those seeds that we planted back last winter. And so now we're starting to harvest what we have been doing for the last, almost a year now. And so this is considered the first harvest, first of the 3 harvest seasons. And it's the beginning. It's not yet dark. You can't really say that it's dark, but what has happened is that from summer solstice, we've now started to go into the darker half of the year, in that the nights start to get shorter rather than longer. So it's still quite abundant, quite joyful. There's still kind of the element of the lightness of summer, but we're now starting to become aware of the change. And by autumn equinox, it's the change of the seasons. So this is very much, I've said this before, the cross quarter. So instead of the summer solstice and winter solstice and the equinoxes, then you've got the cross quarter, which would be Lunasa, Samhain, Imbolic, and Bealtaine. Those ones, they're more internally felt. So it's not really something that you kind of say, oh yeah, there's a massive change around in our seasons, but it's something that you feel inside, that you start to prepare yourself for. And so that's what we're preparing for. We're starting to double check, how are we moving through this process? What is it that we need to learn so far? How can we assimilate this information? And then how can we take this and give it, like feed it into the year and into the half of the year yet to come? So it's all about reaping wisdom, disseminating the abundance, and distributing your values. So it's really, you've now passed that youthful kind of boost of energy, which would be considered kind of the peak at the summer solstice. And you're now coming into a slightly more wizened state as we enter into the second half of the year. Lunasa, and a few other different names, Lunasa, different spelling and Irish spelling, Lammas as well, but more the Old English word for it. Essentially what this is it's the holiday that's in between summer solstice and autumn equinox. Astrologically, it's considered the 15th degree of Leo, because as I said, the cross quarters, solstice and equinox, they're the 0 degree of the cardinal signs. So summer solstice was 0 degrees of Cancer, whereas the cross quarter is the 15 degrees, so the midpoint of the fixed signs, so Leo. And so like I said, this is an internal adjustment, and it's a time to really honor the sacrifices of, for survival, what we have to do in order to take something from that heightened energy of the peak of the year, so that it allows us to take that energy through the darker, the harder, challenging part of the year. Because the way we look at this, it's the same as how you look at the moon, the lunar energy, when you work with the cycles of the moon. It gives us greater perspective that there are always peaks and troughs. There are always going to be moments where you feel abundant and full, and there are always going to be moments where you're feeling a sense of lack or darkness. And by moving with the lunar cycles, or the wheel of the year, which is more of the solar cycles, we really start to kind of say, oh, great, it's not shameful to have dark moments. It's not that you only have your dark moments in winter, but it's that we can take the application of this movement of energy and apply it to ourselves. We are both solar and lunar energy embodied. You know, we have this cosmic energy inside of us. We are of stardust. That's what makes up our entire DNA, our bodies. So to be able to apply that principle that energy is always going through different cycles, it allows us to look at the energy, emotion, thought patterns, the physical sensations that we move through, and look at it with greater appreciation. It's okay, nothing lasts forever, nothing is permanent, let it run its course. So Lunasa allows us to really appreciate moments of fulfillment. Perhaps maybe not right now, but we did have moments of fulfillment, or we have experienced it. And so we can take time to really appreciate that which we have abundance of. And it's really important to look at it like that. Like, even in the sign of Leo, it's an abundant, radiant, joyful energy. So we want to take in that time to feel worthy, that we can appreciate and feel joyful that we have had fulfillment at moments. And then also at the same time, we're learning from the lessons of the hardship, if it's hardship that we're feeling now or hardship that we've felt in the past. Instead of looking at it as something that weighs you down and completely shuts you off, it allows you to feel that you can learn from that lesson, that you can take the wisdom of that and allow it to carry you through. So that would be the energy that we're working with. As it is a cross-quarter festival, the veils are really thin, similar to Samhain, similar to Bealtaine. And in bulk, they are times when the veils are thin. It's considered that the energy is internally adjusting, but equally weak. So when it's internally adjusting, it's a yin energy. Therefore, anything that's yin, invisible, is much more palpable. So the veils are thin, therefore energetically, dream-wise, empathically, intuitively, this energy is coming through much stronger. So I'm going to have a little sip. If you are drinking your cacao, your sacred elixir, please enjoy it while I'm waffling away here. And what we will do is do a little ceremony invocation just before the meditation. And don't worry, if you've finished your cacao by then, that's okay. But also in the same theme of the Leo energy, it's a time of being very sovereign and courageous. So this is the type of energy that we take with us. If we think about it, yes, we're about to enter into the dark half of the year. So we need a sense of strength and courage. But we're coming from a space of the summer solstice, which was our peak. So we feel still quite sovereign, quite on a high. And so that's the type of energy we take with us, but we take it with us in a more balanced approach. Okay. So again, Lunasa, firstly, in terms of where it gets its name, it's the Irish word, pronounced Lunasa. It's the Irish word for the month of August. Most of them are they just come from the words that we use in the Irish language. And Lunasa gets its name from Lugh, which is the Celtic god or deity, a Celtic king. And Nasa is basically a terminology for an assembly or a festival. So the whole month of August is considered the festival of Lugh. And so his qualities were this, he was this radiant, youthful warrior. And he was a jack of all trades in a sense. Yes, he was a warrior and he was strong and he was considered somewhat of a leader. But he loved to fool around and he liked to play games and play tricks on people. So he was like that youthful essence, very radiant and always having fun. He was also into music and poetry. So there was like a great layering of these type of characteristics that align with the qualities of Leo as well. And he also was considered an alchemical healer. So an alchemical healer, because of the element of fire, is that you can take something and transform it into something else. So this is like, even though Lu would be considered a Celtic god or deity, I can see how they all overlap, and it's very similar to the qualities of the Leo energy, which would be the same, the sun quality. It's the Leo is ruled by the sun. And you've got that energy of being radiant. You've got the energy of being joyful, youthful, fun, leadership, courage, strength, the warrior. So these are all the types of qualities that come up for both Leo season and for Lunasa. The funny thing is with Lunasa, I was, when I looked at this, I kind of said, gosh, this is like one of the most prominent Celtic gods that his name came forward, because oftentimes, particularly in the pagan culture, it's the goddess that is the holder of this. Even though they both work together, it's often the main solstice and equinox holidays that have more yang male energy to it. So for this one, when digging a little bit deeper, I realized that even though it's named after Lu, the Celtic king god, it's actually what he created in honor of the mother. And so his mother, his foster mother, as the story or the legend goes, is Tialtu. She is considered an ancient earth goddess, like Gaia or Ceres, like a harvest goddess, a mother goddess. And so the story goes that he was given up for foster or adoption by his own mother, because his father was told by a prophet that he would be slain by one of his children. So he killed every single child that he had. And so when the mother had this child, she immediately gave him away because she was obviously tired of having her children killed. So he was raised by Tialtu, and he became known through her lineage, but always known that it wasn't his actual mother, which is symbolic of two things. One, she is the earth goddess. So it's not necessarily that it's his mother, it's that he is honoring the mother, the yin, the divine, okay? Because the mother goddess, that's what she represents. Whereas the father god, or the creator essence, is the same. They're both the same, but they are not necessarily personified. So the fact that she was always known as the foster mother is really interesting, because he is essentially, he's not just honoring his physical mother, he's honoring the earth mother and what she did for her people. And so what she did for her people was that she foresaw that they were coming into a time of darkness, and she knew that the lands needed to be cleared. So she asked, or she did herself, it's one or the other, and that she cleared a big space, a big opening, so that this was the land that could be harvested. And so through that, her people now had both wood for the winter to keep them warm, but also anything that was cleared became the food that was used for the harvest, that was used to carry them through the darker months, the colder months. But the story then goes, either she died in battle on this plain, or she died from exhaustion while clearing this plain of land. And what this symbolically represents is that she is like the fruit or the vegetation that wilts and dies, and then becomes the fertilizer for the ground over the winter, that is then reborn as a space for fertilization and the spring, the seeds being planted. So she is symbolic of the earth and how it goes through its processes, that there comes a point where things must die and be returned into the earth, into the darkness of the soil, to go into deep slumber in the winter. And then everything is reborn out of that fertile earth, the mother goddess, and she births life anew to go through the different cycles. So you can see why it's, even though she is named as his foster mother in the stories, often we have to look at these legends and myths as really just a symbolic representation of how the earth transformed with the sun and the moon often that's really all of these lovely stories, wonderful mythological, even religious stories. They're often just ways of telling us how the earth moved, or planets moved, or stars moved through their cycles. But that on their journey, you know, it is representative of us as a human, what we go through as well, through our life cycle. So these wonderful stories just give us an opportunity to tag whatever it is we're dealing with into this same sort of process and say, oh, okay, well, sometimes I have to make sacrifices, and I have to let things die, and I have to let things go. And maybe they're completely surrendered for a while, but perhaps from that, we gain something from it that maybe is an offering for somebody else, or along the line somewhere later on, we gain the benefit, we reap the benefit from it. And so this is what we can do. Obviously the story itself is fun, but we need to be able to use this for ourselves. So if there were things that were frustrating you, bothering you, things that you wanted to release, fears, frustrations, emotions and thoughts that were just no longer serving you, you allow them to be, I suppose, to die into the fields. And for the harvest is you're taking the lesson, you're chopping off the top, and you kind of say, right, that's the lesson that I'm going to learn from that, but everything else is put to bed. It goes into death mode as the winter comes. And then you plant a new seed from the wisdom that you gain from this time, so that a new life or a new energy can be reborn from it. And so that's how we can practically use this type of energy to allow us to move through the cycles of our own life, the cycles of our own energy. Even the thought patterns that we go through, we need to be able to align them with we need to give them a purpose, right? Because sometimes we can get stuck in certain patterns that just we can't really see a way out. So to kind of give it a purpose, to give it a track, that's what, if anything, that's what we can take from these sort of stories. In addition to this whole festival being, named for her, for the Mother Earth, there are two ways. It's considered her festival because he is mourning her. So it's like a funeral festival. He's mourning the death, the loss of what she did. He's honoring her in terms of how she died for the people. They harvest the land during the day, and then by night, as they're burning the fires to clear the fields, these fires are equally the fires that that light the torch for the games that they play then at night. And so this is what I thought was really interesting, how it's correlated so well with the energy of Leo, is that Leo, yes, is the warrior, but it's equally really into playing the games, and games of strength. So really challenging one against the other, and not necessarily in a way to be combative and to suppress, but just to have a bravado of showing off. The Leo energy loves to kind of have the limelight. And so that's what these games were all about, that they became almost like the pre-Olympic kind of games, where you could exercise that strength that you have. So during this holiday, you want to be able to look at what are your strengths. What is it that you can find within yourself and say, oh, I'd like to exercise that muscle, that type of energy that I have that's worthy of kind of playing it out and testing it a little bit, and just having not so much a competitive attitude about it, but more of a, this fun to kind of play with this energy and see where it takes me. So you can see the types of layering that's going on at the moment. And if you apply that to where you're at, you can start to sift out how the emotions are, they can sometimes get a little bit blurred in this process because there's a lot going on. So that's why there's such an internal adjustment at this time. So by kind of using story to act as our basis, we can then kind of compartmentalize all of the different energies that we're feeling and apply it to this story so that we can cycle with our own strengths and with our own fears. Okay, so then also the archangel that we're using for Lunasa is the archangel Sachiel, which is really known as the archangel of wealth or success, which aligns with the energy of the Leo. And so this angel, when you call upon, we'll call upon it when we enter into the meditation, but call upon this energy whenever you want that sense of abundance, that sense of success and protection and prosperity to just like radiate from you. And you should be able to really feel it. It's a very strong and quick energy. Think of it like the energy of a flame. Okay, so when you light a flame, you instantly feel heat from it. It's not like as if it grows with time. It's like it's instantly there. And it can take on quite a big energy. So even though you light one flame, that can instantly light a bunch of others and become a big fire. And so this is the type of energy that you're working with in Leo season and with the energy of Lunasa. So we've also got a few little keywords there, which have kind of gone through already. It's also a really good time, obviously, as the photo there is depicting, it's a wonderful time to connect to harvest, to fresh fruits, to you know, any kind of oats and seeds that you can harvest either from your own gardens or locally. So you're really picking and choosing to eat fresh, freshly harvested food. But it's also a fun time to preserve certain foods. So obviously we're not really living in the time where we're doing all of our own farming and things like that, but it's no harm maybe even to just do one of these skills, like a jam making or a chutney making, where you're taking certain fruits and you're turning them into something that can maybe last a little bit longer. If anything, then the reminder of that jam or the chutney, or even like a bread or a cookie or something like that, that allows it just to last even a few weeks, gives you the reminder of what it is that you are playing with. What is the type of energy you're playing with? You're harvesting something, a quality, preserving it, and allowing it to just be disseminated, spread out over the coming days, weeks, months. Okay. And so that's a little Lunasa invocation, that our harvest is abundant and fruitful. It's something I really recommend that you have a little read over later. May it bring you health, happiness, and prosperity. So these are all the qualities that we're talking about for this time. And all that does so in honor, not in vain. So you're really honoring that which you're letting go of. And we really are letting go of some weight here because we're working with the element of fire. And anything that falls, so falls that perhaps is considered a failure, know that it will rise again. It will have its opportunity because it becomes wise through this experience. So yes, maybe it didn't cut the grade this time around, but then plant it into the darkness of the winter. Allow it to be fertilized by the wisdom, the great dark wisdom of the void of the winter, so that it can be reborn next time around. And even though we're looking at it as a year cycle, for us ourselves, practically, that could be like a few days, you know? Cycles happen all the time. So something that is considered a failure doesn't mean that you have to wait till next year before you start redoing it. You said, okay, that didn't work. Okay, well, let's just put it to bed for a little bit. Allow yourself to work through the processes. Well, I gotta keep moving. And you pick yourself back up again. You remember what you've learned from that. And then you take that energy and you allow it to bring you forth on your cycle, on your life journey. So even though it's a year cycle, the wheel of the year, we ourselves are constantly going through these cycles. So don't wait a year to process. Just you're working with energy in the same cycle, same mode or theme. And then the Leo energy, I've kind of talked about most of it already at this stage, but we're also really tuning into the Leo energy. That's the great attractor. So if you think about it, it's like a moth to a flame or a bee to the honey, that it's this kind of attractive energy. It's a glow, it's a radiance. It's ruled by the sun. So if you think about it, most people are pretty attracted to being in the sun or in the warmth or in the light, whatever way you symbolically view that. And that is the type of energy that Leo has, that whether it's in yourself as a Leo sun sign, moon sign, or rising sign, we all have Leo energy within us. So we all have the ability to tap into this energy. It just might be in different arenas, a different aspect within us and how we play it out. But this is this wonderful energy that we can use to kind of bring in, to attract our greatest potential. So when we are allowing things to die in this process at this holiday, we're also saying, these are our hopes, these are my desires, I attract this. And even though we're bringing something in that's going to draw in this energy as we go into the depths of the winter, that's the most beautiful time to know what your hopes are. Because in the depth of the darkness, however long that lasts, the depth of the darkness is actually the most potent. It's got the most amount of that void energy, which is the sacred energy, isn't something that you can necessarily label, but through that gives a huge amount of growth and allows for it to grow, your desires to grow from that. Okay, so it's a really great time to know what your desires are and kind of put it out into this energy at this time. And so, as I mentioned, we have got this thinning of the veil, which is normally how the energy works when we're at the midpoint of the fixed signs, a very yin type of energy. And this thinning of the veil is also an opportunity to tune into higher energies. And so that's why I was tagging the Lionsgate into this. Lionsgate is the energy of the 8-8. Okay, it's a numerological peak day. Most people know of 8 being quite an auspicious number. Okay, so and it's the same with every month. Any like 11, 11, 12, 12, 8, 8, all of those days of the month, they're just peak energies when you look at it numerologically. So for the 8-8, it is aligning with the peak of the Leo energy, which is also linking to the star Sirius. Okay, so let me backtrack. That we have, obviously, most of us know of our own sun, okay, and our moon and the planets, but we also have the stars, the fixed stars. And one of those really bright fixed stars is called Sirius. It's the 5th brightest star in our winter skies, those of us in the northern hemisphere. And it has just started to rise in the morning before the sun. So ever since its alignment back in the middle of July, from then, now we're starting to see it's come away from the brightness of our sun, and we're now starting to see it rise before the sun. So therefore we can see it in our morning skies again. And so this was tracked back by, the ancient times, not just Egypt, but predominantly recorded in Egypt, but every single ancient culture and civilization that really came across as being way more advanced than we were in terms of how they comprehended the cycles. In Egypt, particularly, they aligned with the energy of Sirius because the heliacal rising of Sirius aligned with the flooding of the Nile. And so this is where the peak days, the dog days, were so hot. And then all of a sudden the Nile started to flood and they were able to see Sirius rising again. And so it marked a very auspicious time of heightened energy. Sirius is known from more of a star energy. So if you just take the consciousness of what a star is, our sun, as in like this glowing sun in the sky, is representative of our prana, our life force here on Earth. Then Sirius, or star consciousness, is considered something greater than what we are here on Earth. So it's our spiritual consciousness. So Sirius is considered our spiritual sun, the light of our spiritual consciousness. So when we align with the sun, which is our prana here that we house and we embody, and then we align with Sirius as our spiritual consciousness, so the consciousness that never dies, we don't know of a life cycle. It's like a pure consciousness that's ongoing, forever going. That is what we're tuning into when we connect with the energy of Sirius. So it's a consciousness that is like forever ongoing. And so when we tune in with the Sirius energy, you probably have already felt it. It's something that you can't really just say, oh, it only happens on 8/8. That's just considered the peak of it. And it's nice to align it with the numerological day, 8/8. But already we're starting to feel this rise of energy. And so when we align with the 8/8 Lionsgate portal, it's more of a symbolism of this alignment of our spiritual consciousness. Everything is heightened because Leo season is awakening the prana that we have, the energy that we embody, and then aligning it with Sirius is taking our spiritual consciousness that step higher as well. So at this moment in time, we have this huge surge of heart consciousness, which is our sun, which is the light that we radiate. And the spiritual consciousness of Sirius aligns with our ability to perceive from a greater perspective. So we've got this like third eye and heart center awakening at this time. And so the reason why this is considered so high is because particularly in, say, Egypt or other ancient cultures, Mayan cultures, Babylonian times, is because this is where we could really embody our greatest spiritual purpose into this moment now, here on Earth. So it's this alignment, and it can happen all the time, but it's always nice to align with things, right? So that's what we're doing for the Lionsgate portal. And we allow ourselves to take it up a notch. So it's like, yes, we are embodying a huge amount of light. We are an energetic body in a physical manifestation. But now we're heightening this awareness. We're like, we're a consciousness that never dies also. But we're allowing ourselves to remember it at this time, during this Lionsgate portal. Just listed a few different beings or star alignments that you can put with this. The Sirius star beings, some of you have heard me talk of this before. So the star beings would be an energetic consciousness that you can clairvoyantly or intuitively connect with and call upon. It's like calling upon an angelic energy. They're a representation of this energy so that we here in our labels and boxes can align with an energy that takes us to something greater than what we are. And so oftentimes the Sirian star beings, they come in either looking like a blue flame or blue avian, feathered-like creatures. Or if you think of it like the lion, it's like they've got this mane of radiant energy around them. So again, it's whether you see them as feline, avian, flame-like, feathers, whatever it is, just have it in the back of your head. That's just the type of visuals that some people have experienced when tuning into the Sirian energy. We also have to look at it as a very direct energy. I personally have worked with a lot of Sirian star beings, particularly since a huge awakening back in 2012. And the most I can say is they're very direct. There's no kind of mincing of their words. They're not necessarily like here to comfort you or anything like that. They're very much here to push you on your mission, on your track, and give you that fire to accelerate your journey. And so that's very similar and in alignment with the type of energy I've already been speaking about. It's like the courageous warrior, deeply heartfelt, great insight and perception. And it gives you that ability to just go faster, go in greater alignment with not just the prana, the energy that you hold, but the higher consciousness, the purpose of why you're here as a spiritual being, okay? And so we're aligning with the energy of Egypt and the pyramids, but pyramids exist not just in Egypt. So think of it like that, okay? And that when you enter into, like in dream time after this ceremony, you may even enter into a state that aligns you to the pyramids that are dotted around our planet or our star consciousness as well, because the pyramids hold this diamond quality that connects us to the star energy. Not many people would understand, but every pyramid has a replica vortex underneath, okay? Because they are considered vortex points of energy. They are generally, most of the pyramids are dotted along high energy lines, ley lines in our earth. And so even though we can see the top of the pyramid, they have a replica, the exact same underneath, that is unseen or invisible. That's the yin and the yang. So the yang is what we see on the surface, and the yin is what is beneath, but is equally as important, because that is where the energy is kind of coming from, and then it is drawn out through the top of the pyramid. So that is the type of energy when we align with the pyramids and the earth grids that we connect to as well. So just go back. With the other things with the Syrian energy is to understand the timeline. Timelines are a very like current reality perspective, okay? When we tune into a star consciousness, so we tune in with Sirius, we're taking ourselves out of our current timeline, this reality. We're allowing ourselves to see beyond that, because it's a non-dying consciousness. The earth consciousness goes through its cycles of life, death, reborn, you know, this cycle that we're working with the wheel of the year. So it's interesting to pair Lunasa and the Lionsgate together, because you've got, on one hand, what we live through, these cycles of life, these lessons that we process. We allow life to happen, to grow, then to die, and to be reborn. But then the Lionsgate energy is coming in saying, hey, wake up. You are way more than that. Bring that consciousness in to fire you through your cycles that you're going through. I could say so much more on this, but I'm aware of our timing, and sometimes it's easier to just enter into kind of a meditative state and allow this to symbolically speak to you. But I fill you with these little words and themes so that it can help pepper your imagination. As you know, when we enter into meditation or dream time, a lot of you have worked with me for dream work. So when you work with setting an intention before you fall asleep or before you meditate, essentially what you're doing is just asking for energy to symbolically communicate with you. And however you like to perceive energy will help you process whatever it is that you're going through. And so it doesn't have to be tangible, but you can take that metaphorically and apply it tangibly to your life lesson. So that is why these two events coming together, it's like we can gain greater comprehension of what it is that we're going through, even if it's not something you can overly express in words, but you apply it to our life processes. And then that energy carries through our cycle, our wheel of the year, our wheel of our life. And then from there, we start to see an ascension of us spiraling through life. And so that is essentially what ascension is. When people now in this new age talk about ascension and this great awakening, really what it is just pouring in extra awareness into the cycles that we live with. But instead of it sitting as a wheel, like a hamster wheel that doesn't actually go anywhere, it's like, no, it's a spiral, and it goes upward, where it goes outward, wherever it goes. The point is, it's not just fixed, spiraling around or spinning around in one little spot. It's constantly moving. So by taking higher consciousness that doesn't die, if we look at it like that, and applying it into our wheel of life, what we process, we start to see that these energies then move together. And that's what gives our life a little bit more oomph and purpose to continue moving. And our consciousness, our awareness ascends or awakens. Therefore, we start to propel ourselves through these veils or illusions that keep us stuck in little spirals, okay? Or at least that's how I like to look at it. It helps you get through the things that crop up in life, because inevitably we are still here living very practical, living life. But when you can awaken to greater wisdom, you have to find a dance between the two. And by finding that dance between the two, you start to accelerate your progression through your life cycles. They no longer become something that you have to work through laboriously and process for a long, long time. It's something that, because you're opening up your awareness and allowing yourself to cycle through energy, so you're allowing yourself to feel emotion, you're allowing yourself to observe that thought pattern, and then you're taking it to a next level. You're saying, right, okay, well, that can die and I can learn from that and I can take a bit of this. And all of a sudden you're opening up and more lessons come. They don't just stop, but your ability to perceive and your ability to be with energy that's always moving opens up. Okay, so that is, I think that's kind of a Lunasa and Lionsgate in a nutshell, a good solid Danielle nutshell that likes to cover as many bases as possible. And those that know with meditation, then I ask you to just drop all of that information and allow yourself to kind of float off into an etheric space. So that's a non-practical space, okay? So if you need to, head off to the toilet. If you're listening to this as a recording, press pause, you can come back to this. Just allow yourself to shake up, move about, finish off your last little bit of tea or cacao, and we will enter into meditation. Okay, so take a moment. So when we enter into ceremony mode, we're taking a theme of energy, applying it into our practice. So whether that is sitting down with a candle, crystal, a cup of cacao or a cup of tea, incense perhaps, our breath. We're taking all of these elements and we're allowing ourselves to fuse into a space, an energetic space. And then from there, we're allowing ourselves to move through this energetic space to take us to the next level of learning on a different plane, the astral plane, the energetic plane, the intuitive plane. And by doing this, you really need to allow yourself to fully relax. So make sure you've moved your body and found yourself comfortable in a seated or completely reclined lying down position. Allow yourself to focus on the posture of your body, so the length of your spine, and really give yourself the time to let your breath move through the body with great clarity. Okay, so that is listening to the breath enter in, and then listen to the breath leaving, departing your body. Become really aware of how you're breathing. So the movement of your body, the sound of your breath, and the quality of every breath you take. So we open this ceremony space to honor Lunasa and the Lionsgate portal. We call in our compassionate guides, the energy that we already work with ourselves, our higher self, our heart energy. We call upon the guides, the compassionate guides that hold this energetic virtual space that we are connecting in. And we call upon the deities, the energies that can represent this time, this energy that we play with. So we call upon Lu, Celtic deity. And just even by reciting his name, call in Lu, I call in Lu. Breathing in that essence. Calling upon the deity, the mother goddess Tialtu. Allowing her presence to really surround you, to wrap around you. Calling upon the energy, the essence of Archangel Sachiel. Feel your breath breathe in this angelic presence. And we call upon the Sirius star beings, the energy from the Sirius star, specifically calling upon Ra, the creator energy from Sirius, calling upon Isis, the mother energy from Sirius, and Anubis, the Egyptian god, which led the pathways between the worlds. So keep anchoring and listening to your breath. And we deepen this space by calling upon the quarters. Listen to the sound of your breath as we call upon the east, the element of air. We connect to our thoughts, our mind, clarity of mind. We call upon the Sky Father, the great eagle, the winged beings, to surround us now in sacred space. Really deepening your breath, feeling the quality of breath travel through you and around you. Turning to the south, calling upon the energy of fire, the light, the quality of our prana, that light force within us, that vital life force within us. Equally honoring our ego, that quality that holds and challenges our light force. We honor that. And we call upon the great dragon and the fire beings to surround us in sacred circle now. And as we feel our heartbeat, the life force pulsing through our body, we really honor this element of fire, which is so alive, burning alive during this Leo season, this Lunasa festival. As we turn to the west, we honor the energy of water. Allowing a little bit of movement into the body, observing the movement and flow of breath, reminding us of the ever-present transformation of energy. There's nothing stagnant. Everything is moving, fluid. Calling upon our internal emotions and feelings, honoring this quality that we house, that we play with, that we learn from. Calling upon the great whale, the dolphins of Sirius, and all of the water beings to surround this sacred space now. And we turn to the north, calling upon the element of earth. As we breathe deeply, feel the weight of your body. Call upon the energy of your physical manifestation. Tune into the DNA that your body in this moment now holds. Call upon our ancient elders, the four-legged and two-legged beings that have walked before us. We call upon the energy of those that are yet to walk. And we ask them to support us in this sacred circle now. From the four quarters, the four elements, we hold in this sacred space and we anchor into our hearts. Taking a full deep inhale, hold this energy, seal it into your heart center. As you exhale, feel this energy ground down through the layers of your body, all the way down from the base, from your root, from your feet. Ground this energy down into the heart of the earth, into the heart of Mother Earth, the creator goddess, the invisible force. Perhaps you can visualize roots of a tree or threads or tendrils of energy anchoring you down, connecting to this very nurturing force. And as you connect to the heart of Gaia, the heart of Mother Earth, you feel a wonderful sense of warmth, of sustenance, of nourishment. As you deeply inhale, start to draw this energy back up, taking with you the strength from the Mother Earth, the courage that she passes on from her heart to yours. As you breathe up, feel this energy rise up through the layers of the earth, through the layers of your body, from your feet to your base, up your spine, spiraling up and housing it in your heart center. Take a full deep breath and feel the energy rise as you hold your breath, sealing in this wonderful energy, harvesting this energy into your heart. And with an exhale, imagine sending this energy all the way up through the throat, through the crown, reaching this energy all the way up and above you. You send the same roots of a tree, branches of a tree, tendrils of energy up and beyond to Father Sky, out into the cosmos, beyond your imagination, what you can perceive out in the cosmos. With every exhale, you're sending your energetic thread, your imprint of energy, out to connect to the heart of Source, of all creation. Have a knowing, a sense as you connect to the heart of Source. You're always plugged into this higher energy. So you're just allowing yourself to enter into this heightened awareness, a state that allows you to perceive something beyond the mundane. And as you plug in and ground in to that high force, that cosmic force, the heart of Source feeds you with heightened awareness, a greater perspective, a light quality. And as you start to inhale, breathe this energy all the way back down through the tendrils of energy that enter into your crown, that radiate around you like a fountain of energy, that swirl through you into your heart and throughout your entire body. As this fountain of energy floods your system, it's quenching the thirst of every cell in your body. Every cell in your body is just like the stars in the great galactic system. They each are fueled with this wonderful light and energy force. Feel your entire body start to radiate with this heightened heart energy connection. And as you breathe, inhale, hold this energy at your heart center. And as you feel your heart beat, it pulsates, radiating this wonderful warmth, this incredible heart connection from both Gaia, the heart of Earth, and the heart of Source of all creation. This is housed within your energetic channel. And see this infinite link, this flow of energy like a figure of 8. The 8-8 gateway, the 8-8 portal. It flows from Source energy through your heart, down to Mother Earth, to the heart of Earth, back up through your heart, and back up to the source of all creation. This infinite energetic flow is always there. You are gifted a moment to perceive, to imagine, to feel this energetic connection, to refuel your body. And so as you settle into your breath, allow yourself to breathe effortlessly. From this heightened energetic state, visualize a Merkaba, a star shape surrounding you. You have one pyramid, four-sided pyramid, and it surrounds you with one point above your head, and the other four-sided pyramid with the point below your feet. This Merkaba is your vehicle of etheric journeying. You can take this star shape and journey etherically, so out of the physical. As you breathe deeply, this Merkaba starts to spin, creating a portal, a vortex of energy. Keep breathing deeply, so stay anchored with the quality of your breath, but allow yourself to relax and let go of the body. Perhaps feeling the heartbeat, the pulse of energy in your body heighten. Allow whatever extrasensory perception that you possess to come more to the forefront. Maybe you feel something. Maybe you see something. Perhaps it is a knowing, an imagination. Imagine that your energetic body, it's like a blueprint of your body, lifts up out of your physical form. Within this star shape, this Merkaba, you start to lift up, perhaps looking back down at your beautiful body resting. And know that your physical body is gaining a wonderful moment of full relaxation and rejuvenation. As you stay with your breath and stay with your energy, you allow yourself to journey. And so our etheric journey begins. Perhaps you can already experience yourself zipping out into the cosmos, down into inner earth, out across the plains. Wherever it is that your energetic consciousness takes you, go there. You find yourself arriving at a space, a sacred space that is of your creation. It's a boundless space. There are no limitations on how it has to look, on what color things have to be. But as you land and arrive at your sacred space, we will call it the airport, your airport, you will begin and end your journey here. So ground into this wonderful space. Connect into the textures and the quality of this space. So you can have a sense, have a feeling, have a visual. What is it that you see? What is it that you hear? Are there sounds? Are there tastes? Are there smells? That as you breathe deeply, allow you to perceive energy on a different level. Extrasensory perception. It is beyond logic, so don't try to rationalize. Take some really good quality deep breaths. Ground into this sacred space, into your airport. So from this sacred space, perhaps you are greeted with the energy beings, the consciousness that we called upon. So perhaps you are greeted by a guide, a personification of energy, whether that is in the form of the cacao goddess or god, the spirit of the cacao, the spirit of your elixir that you drank with your intention today. Perhaps it is your own guardian angel or a higher consciousness of an aspect of you. Perhaps you are greeted by Lu or Talchu or by Archangel Sachiel. Perhaps there are star beings, whether they are the feathered avian beings of Sirius, the feline beings, the large cat with wonderful big manes of energy radiating from around them. Perhaps it's an ancient Egyptian god or goddess. However, the energetic quality comes forward. Maybe there are multiple. Allow one to take the forefront. They are the leader, the guide that wants to take you on this journey into the next stage of this etheric journey. So as you take some deep breaths and you connect to this guide, perhaps it's brow to brow. Perhaps it's hand on each other's hearts. As you unite your energetic force, enabling you to step in a little bit deeper into your pure, heightened consciousness. And as you breathe deeper, you notice that you are lifting up from your own sacred space, from your airport. And you start to spiral up and away from this sacred space. You are now ready to go to the next level of consciousness, the next density or dimension of this energetic journey. And so this wonderful guide reassures you that you are capable of journeying here. Taking you by the hand, guiding you to land on a wonderful path. And as you walk along this path, or you float or glide along this pathway, perhaps there are symbolic messages that come forth for you. Whether that is through color, through sound, through verbal messages coming from this guide. As you walk along this path, you are asked to release some baggage. So anything that is weighing you down in this moment in time, whether it is an emotional challenge, thought process, something that's physically bothering you, you take this opportunity as you walk along this pathway to throw out, to throw away energetic baggage. And as you observe it, it falls out to the fields that lie either side of this pathway. And these fields are being scorched. They have been harvested. So now these dry grasses are being burned. So anything that you are releasing is being thrown out to these scorched lands so that they can be fertilized down into the depths of the soil. And as you cast them out to the fields, the wisdom is returned to you. As you breathe in, you receive the wisdom of these messages, of these life lessons that we all journey through. So offer your appreciation. Smile as the smoke rises and you can see, you can understand what that was about. And so your guide, your etheric, energetic guide, prompts you to think about your hopes and desires. You continue to chat and to journey along this pathway. And you start to dream up and express all of your dreams and desires, everything that you hope for, that you wish to attract into your life. And the more you start to express this mentally and energetically, and you start to feel this quality, it fills you with great joy. You start to feel this abundant energy radiate from within you. You feel this static energy alive within you. These desires that radiate like sunbeams, rays shining out from your heart as you continuously express hope and desire one after the other. Your guide reminds you that now is the time to use this energy to be the great attractor of your desires. What you put out now will be manifested. Energetically, it already has been. You are now just embodying this energy. Feel it radiate from your heart. Imagine that your heart center and your third eye start to radiate the most magnificent light, shining out like these wonderful suns, solar systems that radiate out ray beams of light that reach out and attract and draw in your desires, your dreams, your most sacred and sovereign life quality that you deserve. So radiate this wonderful warmth, this joy, this sense of success that it has already been achieved. There's no such thing as a timeline. It is already yours. In this energetic quality, in this etheric space, it is already yours. As you breathe it in, you feel the body upgrade to align with this energy. And as you recognize your body upgrading, your energetic body upgrading with this light quality, you open up your third eye, you energetically perceive a structure that is standing in front of you along this pathway. A few feet up ahead, you see this most magnificent lion's head and the mouth wide open. You enter through the lion's mouth. Perhaps it's made of the most wonderful crystal or stone. Perhaps it's more of an energetic quality, whatever it is, or a color. You enter inside the Lionsgate portal. And your guardian, your guide, suggests that you enter to the left into a chamber. In this room, in this chamber, you are offered an opportunity to change the energetic body that you are in so that it aligns with the energetic body that you now feel you are. So in this chamber, it's like a changing room. Perhaps you place a robe around you. Perhaps your entire physical appearance is altered. You are no longer just you. You are more. You are all that you are. Allow yourself to become embodied in a new form, in an avatar that represents your pure highest self, now that you have expressed your desires. that you have awakened the chamber of your heart, your higher heart, and your third eye, your ability to perceive all that you are. And you emerge from that chamber. And you get a glance of yourself in a mirror. Proudly look upon this avatar, this incredible form that you are. And perhaps this was something that was hidden, but you always knew this was a quality that you were. So radiate with an abundance and embody this energetic form now. Continue to walk down the corridor inside this Lionsgate portal. And as you enter into the center of this grand chamber, you look around. You become aware that this shape of this room is like a pyramid. It has 4 sides that come together right above your head at a point. Take in the patterns on the walls, the texture, the color, the sounds that reverberate around in this space. Breathe in the smell, the fragrance of this wonderful space. Within this lion's temple, as you stand at the very center of this space, you lift your head, you raise your heart, and you start to look up to the very top, the tip of this pyramid. And the very tip of the pyramid is a different texture or quality. It's clear, like glass, so that light can shine in through this glass pyramid at the top. And as you're leaning back, your heart radiating up towards this tip of the pyramid, you start to spin around, twirl around in the place that you're standing at the center. And you recognize that the sunlight, the light radiating in through the tip of this pyramid is acting like a prism, and light, color plays against the 4 walls of this wonderful pyramid. Keep breathing deeply as it anchors you into the center, and you continue to spin. Your heart is open, reaching up towards the top of this crystalline pyramid, allowing light to flow in and down through this space. Your breath stays strong, but your spinning increases, heightening the energy that you are holding and playing with. Soon you become aware of a different quality that is surrounding you. The spin of energy allows the flooring that you were perceiving to disappear. You don't drop. You remain centered. And you now start to see and perceive that there is an equal pyramid below you. The invisible force, a magnetic force that holds you in place in the center of this pyramid. Continue to breathe and feel your heart align with the energetics of the center of this diamond. All of your desires magnetically attracted into this moment now. The play of light, of color, sparkling around within this space, within this form that you have embodied. This is the heightened energy of the Lionsgate portal, allowing you to access greater wisdom of your spiritual, heightened consciousness. You are awakening to your diamond body, your crystalline form, the form of you that never dies. It exists in every star. It exists in the light that is held in the cells of your body, in the DNA of every atom in the cells of your body. For this moment, held in this energetic space, there are no timelines. You perceive all that you are. Allow the wisdom of this to play, to enlighten you, to awaken your perception so that you may ascend, rise. As you breathe, feel this energy surround you. This energy is in you. This is your energy. Feel proud of all that you are. This sovereign divine being. This enlightened quality. And it's as if you've exploded as a star. This crystalline being has expanded across all timelines, across all perceptions. Fragments of diamond and stardust. All of you exist in each of these fragments. And you perceive it as if you are looking out across a galaxy, in awe of all that you are and all that you are capable of and all that you have done. Start to deeply breathe, anchoring into your breath once more, spiraling now in the opposite direction as this energy is vortexed all the way back in. This energy is starting to spin now internally. As you inhale this energy, as if you are winding it up so that you draw this energy into your body to refuel your energy so that you can carry this force with every quality of all that you are. As you find yourself breathing deeply, focusing on that inhale, you become aware of your physical form, spinning and anchoring back down. But instead of landing back inside this pyramid shape in the lion's portal, you take all of this energy and you anchor into your airport, into your own sacred space. You are now in the physical form that you perceive yourself to be in. Because all that you are is housed in all that you are. So visualize, imagine, and get a sense as you ground and land at your sacred space, your airport. As you start to breathe deeply, focus on the exhale, grounding you into your sacred space. As you land, you're still in an etheric, energetic space, allowing you to perceive and draw in this energy. Seal it into every cell. Seal it into every fiber of your being. And as you land down in your sacred space, however you perceive this place to be, as you look around, you notice that there is a journal or a tablet. And as you pick up this journal, you open it up and you see that every little memory, every desire, everything that you have perceived is recorded in this journal. Every symbolic message, every metaphoric meaning, you don't have to logically comprehend now. Know that when you sit into meditation and when you go to dream at night, you will open up this journal and find all of these records there for you to replay, to comprehend, to assimilate, so that this energy passes through your entire energetic field. And so before you leave your energetic space, your airport, perhaps you perceive the guide or all of the guides that you called upon surrounding you in sacred space. And you bow to them, just as you did at the beginning, brow to brow, heart to heart, offering such great gratitude and thanks for their support and guidance. Breathing deeply as you offer your abundant gratitude to your ability to perceive and to now take all of that perception into your waking moments. Repeating, thank you, thank you, thank you. As you tune in to your heart, breathe deeply as you feel your breath within your heart center, within your rib cage, reciting, thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you are. Bowing to your heart center, for all that you are is housed in your heart center. As you continue to breathe, your Merkaba is still surrounding you, and it takes you back from that energetic space, from that airport. And now as you deeply start to exhale, perhaps audibly exhaling through the mouth, you begin to hear the sound of your breath, which takes you right back into your body, into this moment now. Breathing deeply. Perhaps sighing, letting out a bit of a noise, reclaiming your physical form in this present moment, in your space, in your room. Mentally or audibly reciting, I am, and say your full name 3 times. I am, and your full name 3 times. Allow this to anchor and ground you into your form, into your presence, into this reality that we are perceiving and playing with now. So you come back into this space, starting to move your fingers and toes. Stretching through your arms and your legs. Perhaps even opening your eyes as you come back into this space. And so welcome back into your body, into this moment. Thank you so much for journeying with me in this virtual space for Lunasa and the Lionsgate portal. Take some time over the next few days, particularly today was the exact alignment of Lunasa at the 15 degree for Leo. And then on Saturday, the 8-8 portal really aligns. You're already feeling this energy. So take some time over the next few days. Drink lots of water, good quality water. Focus on your breathing and ground into this moment and allow your dreams to remind you of all that you are and all that you perceive during this experience. So I wish you the very best. Have a wonderful evening or morning whenever you are listening to this meditation. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you.